Yep.
Quarterly. Monthly. Daily. Here's question. How many days are in a year?
365.
This is a trick question.
Yeah!
We have to,
Yes.
excluding leap
Yes,
years,
sir.
which happen every 4 years, with the exception of a century year.
It's
That is not divisible by 4.
365 and a fourth.
But not quite. Okay.
You feel proud of yourself?
The formulas that we will be using will be given to you, so you don't have to memorize them, but I won't tell you what the variables stand for when I give you the formula on a test or quiz. You have to know.
Area,
Count it,
parameter.
Is your ending amount or future value. P is your present amount or principal. 1 plus R is the interest rate as a decimal. N is the number of times you compound in a year. And T is the number of years. So this is regular compound interest. Sometimes we talk about compounding continuously, in which we use this formula. So the only time you use this is for continuous. A, P, R, T are the same thing, but you'll notice there's no N in this one. Instead, it has an E, which is a button on the calculator.
Oh, we're using the button on a calculator.
We are.
Does it also give us per?
That's why I joined up.
All right. Here we go. Let's look at some problems.
Yes. There you go.
Throw it at me.
Sorry, I was intention to saying yes, ma'am.
AP.
If you would've told
Find
me, I would've got
the
that. Here, what?
future value. Future value is what variable?
And
I'm looking for A. Of $100. So what does that 100 represent?
Principal.
Invested at 4%. So that is my,
Rate.
and I don't want to use 4. What should I do?
I don't know.
0.04.
I'm like Sam right
Compounded quarterly. What variable is this giving me?
now. 4.
For what letter?
And
N equals 4. After a period of 13 quarters. Now here's where we have to be careful.
ooh.
Time has to be measured in years.
13 quarters, that's
So how would I
3
change
years.
13 quarters in
Whoa.
years?
13 minus 12.
How long is a quarter?
Oh,
4.
Or how many quarters are in a year? Yeah. So we could do 13 over 4. Or you can use the decimal 3.25 years.
So now, I'm just following.
Yep. Which formula am I using?
A equals
It's not one.
One of them.
P.
the compound interest
1 plus R over N. N T.
So we
Are
have
you okay, Jackson?
100.
I'm enjoying this already.
1 plus 0.04 divided by 4 to the 4 times 3.255. You can put all of this into the calculator at once. You don't have to break it apart.
I can already tell I'm gonna dislike this lesson.
Well, it's
Yes.
time to get over it.
Letting you use a calculator. Life is rough.
I've just always had this dislike of word problems. And work in general, actually. But I still work. I know I've said this to you once. I'll say it to you twice. I'm not going to take 3 math classes in a row.
Alright. So, since I'm talking about money, how many decimal places should I keep here? 2.
Go.
Now, round accordingly. So this is
113.35.
I got
The same thing I
113.
did. Well, I forgot the same thing I
Sam
did.
did something wrong.
Yeah, no crush.
Go please with yourself.
Oh, you did divide it by 1. Okay. Part B wants the amount of interest we earned. So if I end with this much, how much did I start with? So to find your interest,
You subtract it.
yeah. So we get $13.81 interest.
What's your that?
Paying attention and,
That is actually some pretty good advice, thank you.
it is pretty good advice.
Let's
She's trying to
try
attack me.
the next example.
Ooh, that's not listening.
We may skip around a little bit on here.
Yeah,
Let's see.
Oh.
No, don't do that.
Hooray!
Don't do that.
Where's
Leah
Leah? Oh.
must pay a lump sum of $15,000.
Dang.
So is that the amount right now?
No.
No, that's my A. That's what she's going to end with.
Oh, she got a lot of money.
So what amount deposited today? So I don't know my current amount, so I don't know
He is X.
P. At 4.8%, so my rate would be
0.48 or 0.48.
you always move it back to, so 0.048. Compounded annually. Annually is
One.
n equals 1. We'll give the 15,000 in 42 months.
42 months is 4 years. Nope, a little under 4
So we do
years.
42 divided by the 12 months in a year, and we get
5.
using our formula.
Bless you.
They're dying.
No. Whoa, she's zooming.
So I'm just plugging in my variables. You could go straight to your calculator and divide all this over. You could choose to clean it up a little bit first if you wanted. 1 plus 0.048 divided by 1 is 1.048. 1 times 3.5 is 3.5. So we're basically just going to divide that over. We have 15,000. $12,729 and
95.
so that is what she has to have right now.
She ain't doing that.
She has to deposit that.
That's her deposit?
That's what she would have to have in order to end with 15,000.
That's crazy because she's not gonna get that right away.
Wait, in 42 months?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, she has to start with that.
Oh.
Because it has compounded, which will increase your amount.
Just, but only once a year. Yep.
That's crazy.
That's
Okay, so let's say she doesn't have that much.
Of course she doesn't.
Let's say she only has 10,000 right now. So what variable is that?
Let's go.
What annual interest rate, so I'm looking for my R, is necessary for the money to increase to 15,000, so that is my A, in 4 years, so my time is 4. I failed to include it, but let's assume it's still the compounded annually here. So we'll assume that the N is still 1.
Yeah.
Will we always assume that it's 1 if it does not express specifically?
No, the only reason I'm assuming that is it was a part A and B question, so it's the same scenario here. So then if we plug into our formula, the A
I'm on the wrong one. This is
equals P 1 plus R over N times T. So I'm going to divide over 10,000. 15,000 divided by 10,000. 1 plus r divided by 1 is r to the 4th. How would I solve this? We don't have to worry about plus and minus because we're not going to have a negative rate. And then we'll have to subtract our 1 over. So I'm just going to put all this in at once. So 4th root of 1.5 minus 1. So we get 0.1067. So this is 10.67% or almost 11%. Just a pretty high interest rate.
She must be rich.
Is that one okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to skip the next slide for now. I want to go to this one. Find what investing $1,000, so what would the 1,000 represent? An annual rate of 10%. R is 0.1. Compounded continuously. When you see that continuously, what does that tell me?
We're gonna use that same equation up there. That's what that means.
For 2.5 years would yield. So we're trying to figure out what we're going to get. So we're looking for A.
What's the E?
E is kind of like pi. It's a set value. It's actually a 2.7-ish. So we are going to use our calculator. So we have 1,000. E, so if you do second and the natural log button, which is the third one up, 0.1 times 2.5. So you see your on button, go up 2. You have ln and then in blue above it, it says e to the x. So if you hit second and that ln button.
How was E discovered?
It's actually a ratio that comes up a lot in like population studies and those kinds of things.
When did E become a thing?
Back before calculus was
Invented.
Imagine trying to tell people what E is.
I mean, it's kind of like pi. You guys are just so used to seeing pi, you accept it now.
Oh, I haven't accepted it. Still don't know how pi became a thing.
Well,
Just randomly came up.
okay. All right, why don't you guys try this one?
Oh, you're looking for P?
Yep.
Find the present value.
Didn't say the future.
So
Said
present value is P.
Yes, ma'am.
Of $100. So what's the 100 represent? After 2 years. So at 6%.
0.06.
Compounded monthly.
Hooray. I'm so excited.
You should be.
I'm ecstatic.
Alright, so I'm just gonna do all this in my calculator. 100 divided by this.
You should make that calculator bigger, please. I don't want to be back up there.
I don't think I
That's great.
can. I mean, a little bit, but it doesn't get much larger.
You're just gonna have to solve it different.
Thank you.
Because I can stretch it to the side, but it doesn't actually make the calculator itself bigger.
Yeah, just line it up.
I can see it now. That was
That was enough. So we get
Oh. Slay.
88.72.
Two.
So $88.72 would be the present value, the amount right now.
I'm confused to what this question is asking us. If we're trying to, what does it mean?
Find the present value. So basically, if you're going to end with $100 under these conditions, how much do you have to start with?
Okay.
It's after like a clue word there. Cause I kinda use that as a clue word with present.
What is that smell? I like extra marker.
Sorry,
It was in the hallways. I got no idea.
Sorry, that was me.
Something.
All right. What annual rate of interest? So what am I looking for?
You're okay? Oh, you're
I'm looking for the rate. Compounded semi-annually.
N equals 10.
Should you seek if you want to double your investment in 5 years? Okay.
So A would be A times 2.
Yes, so there's two ways of doing this. You can keep it in terms of variables. So P is our starting amount, A is your ending amount. So you could say, okay, if I want to double it, I'm going to end with 2P, twice what I started with. Sometimes people, it makes more sense to them if you actually just make up numbers. How much do you want to start with?
100?
$500.
$500.
So if you start with 100 and you double it, what do you end with?
200. Math.
Okay.
So now we're making up.
I didn't know you could put that in. Does this count as an imaginary number?
No.
No?
Okay, so I'm trying to solve this thing for R. What would I do?
Divide by 100. Or divide by everything again.
Well, we have to get the R by itself. So we would
You
have.
threw me off with putting the
Oh,
all
it's
across.
true.
Okay. Then what do I need to do? Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to put that in my calculator yet because I don't want rounding error.
Rude.
Then what would we do?
Subtract the 1.
And then to get R by itself, the final thing would be. So we have 2 times the 10th root of 2 minus 1. So we get R to be 0.1435. So that would be 14.35%.
It's a really high rate.
It's a very high rate. Which, if you're going to double something, it would take a pretty high rate to be able to do that. Is that okay with everyone?
Mhm.
Why don't we? I'm gonna skip the next one because it's almost the same. I want you guys to try this one. So for finding the amount, if 2,000 is invested, so 2,000 is my P, the amount we're investing. So we're looking for A. At 8.5%, so rate is 0.0. Compounded continuously after 2.25 years. So my time would be, when you see continuous, that tells me we're using the E formula.
Part. It says part.
Put that in.
How did we go from exponential functions to this?
So this falls into exponential when you're solving for your rate or something like that, depending on which component you're solving
Is that
for.
4 zeros?
Three, four, I thought it was just four.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
This thing has a delay in it, so sometimes I get too many digits. All right, so we get 24, 21, 5.
Okay.
Is this okay?
Yes.
Yep. Just write down the information.
So there is a handout posted on Classroom.